Beyond Emissions podcast by Soligent, the largest pure-play solar distributor in the Americas. Thanks for joining us today for episode 3, Beyond Emissions, at the Soligent YouTube channel. Like this video, subscribe, hit the reminder bell in the corner so you can be a part of this ongoing conversation about creating a world that is beyond emissions. And today is a SolarEdge special. By the way, Christmas Eve, we're putting this out right now on the Soligent YouTube channel. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everyone. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your family. And of course, if you're driving right now, this is a great opportunity for you to have the podcast on. You, your family, your friends can learn a little bit about renewable energy. Now, Beyond Emissions, excited to have Magnus Asbo and Brian Arons on today from SolarEdge. It's a SolarEdge special. Also coming up as well, my mentor in the business taught me what a kilowatt hour was. Brooke Hanner from Offline Solar Electric is going to be here talking about renewable energy, beyond emissions as a whole. As our mission, he shares that same mission, saving our planet, also economic security for our country, etc. It's great for everybody. Like Brooke says, renewable energy, solar energy storage is a win-win-win-win scenario for everyone. And he's going to be on the broadcast today. Plus, also, believe it or not, Brooke has a Tesla car from Offline Solar. He's got a Tesla car. Does he charge that with a Tesla solution? No. He actually uses an EV charging system from SolarEdge to be able to charge his Tesla from the sun. So again, another solution from SolarEdge. Excited to have these guys on today, Magnus and Brian from SolarEdge. By the way, if you're listening right now, thanks so much for tuning in. Join us. Become a SolarEdge dealer by partnering and becoming a Soligent installer. And click on that link below to join us in our Soligent team in offering SolarEdge solutions to your customers in the description below. Just click on that. And you can join us here at Soligent in offering SolarEdge solutions, helping to create a world that is beyond emissions. Brian and Magnus on the program with us right now. Welcome to the show, guys. I speak one at a time because I know you're singing from the same hymnal as we are in our mission to create a world that is beyond emissions here at the Beyond Emissions podcast by Soligent at the Soligent YouTube channel. Let our listeners know who you are, but also as well, the question I start out every show. What does beyond emissions mean for you, and how do you think we're going to get there? Welcome to the Beyond Emissions podcast, guys.
Thanks very, very much, Josh. I appreciate that introduction. And Brian, with your permission, I'll go ahead and kick it off. Yeah, so my name is Magnus Asbo. I head up our residential product for SolarEdge here in North America. That includes inverters and optimizers, EV chargers, batteries, transfer switches, the whole solution. So it's a lot of fun to do. Personally, I've been in the industry since about 2009, working for various companies, including Sun Edison. Back when that was a good thing to do. But I've been here at SolarEdge for the last 7 years, and it's a real pleasure to work with this company. You asked kind of what beyond emissions means to me, and it's very topical for me today because I just got my EV out of the shop, and I've been driving around a gas car for a couple of weeks now, and it's come to the point where it kind of hurts. It's slow. I can practically feel the carbon dioxide coming out of the thing. And what I've come to realize is that, when I first got into this, being able to avoid emissions was the point. That we would have to make compromises. But the reality is nowadays is that so many of the things that we're developing in order to move purely to renewables are actually better. I would also take the example of induction cooktops and things like that, where you're not going to be making compromises in order to electrify and get away from hydrocarbons, but you're actually going to be doing things in a better and more controlled way. So I'm going to say that beyond emissions to me means not just saving the planet, but improving your life and making it more streamlined.
Yeah, yeah, more efficient. I mean, to speak to that, great point. Great point. Technology does not have to mean we're sacrificing power or innovation or quality. LED lights, for example, they last longer. They can do more things, functionality of LED lights, and they cost a lot less. A 100-watt bulb now is only producing the same amount of electricity being drawn to produce the same amount of light at like 10 watts, 10% or less of the incandescent bulb. And, we don't have to actually sacrifice. You mentioned the electric vehicle that you got out of the shop. Magnus and Brian Arons and Magnus Asbo with us today from SolarEdge, partners with Soligent. Go down into the description right now and click and become a Soligent dealer today to offer these SolarEdge solutions to your customers and helping us create a world that is beyond emissions. Beyond Emissions podcast by Soligent at the Soligent YouTube channel. Click and like and subscribe to our channel and hit that reminder bell in the corner so you can be a part of this ongoing conversation here at the Soligent YouTube channel. That electric vehicle that you just mentioned, Magnus, you're not sacrificing performance. Those electric motors, I have heard and felt it myself. You can't really hear it because it's so much quieter, right? It's actually kind of nice just having a conversation and not have that big rumbling engine fighting for position in a conversation inside of the cab of a vehicle. But in addition, it's quick, it's fast. There's a lot of power. So if you like performance and you like power, renewable energy now with the technology at our fingertips, we're not having to sacrifice that at all. Great point, Magnus.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and if I could point out also on the fact that with EVs, you can charge them at home. You don't have to go to the gas station. That's something that I had to get used to also. The idea that I have to stop someplace and get powered up is with gas cars is not so fun. I should point out, though, that one of the things that we're really moving into with EVs and PV is the ability to sort of look at how much green energy am I producing at any given moment and say that is what I'm going to use to charge my EV with. So there's a very powerful point to make to your customers, to homeowners, that you have the ability to ensure that the electrons that are going into your car are coming from a green and renewable resource.
Now, SolarEdge, available from Soligent. Again, folks listening to this broadcast, if you want to be a Soligent dealer, join our installer team. Click on the link below in the description to offer these great SolarEdge solutions to your customers today. It's not just an inverter. It's not just helping the PV come in and give you an offset on your bill. There's energy storage, and there are EV charging solutions, the entire energy hub. All right there, available from Soligent, the SolarEdge renewable energy solutions, all kind of under one umbrella. Talk a little bit about this amazing package that folks can get from Soligent, these SolarEdge solutions that are, not just one size fits all. You've got kind of something for everyone here in your packages available through our Soligent SolarEdge program, right?
Oh, sure, absolutely. I'll briefly review kind of a little bit of everything. We came into this business through our power optimizers, which sit behind each module and make sure that we get the most energy possible. We also act as a PV rapid shutdown device so that the system conforms with all of the latest National Electric Code, and that's all built into the system. So there aren't third-party products required to do that. Those then are to our inverters, and we have two varieties. One of which is the home hub inverter, and that home hub inverter, in addition to being able to connect to those optimizers on the roof, they also connect to our SolarEdge home battery. And what we're doing here is we're basically saying, look, everything that comes off the roof is DC. A battery is a DC device. We will have them share a bus. If you are not converting the energy with the inverter to AC for use, we'll just go ahead and flow that energy straight off of the roof and straight into the battery for an incredibly efficient method to store energy for later use. So in addition to those three parts, the optimizers, the inverters, the batteries, we also, as we mentioned, provide our home EV charger, which can be connected directly to the home hub inverter. And really importantly, it doesn't need a separate circuit breaker. So a lot of times people are going in and installing these new systems on an existing main panel. And as we know, replacing the main panel or upgrading it is an expensive proposition. So the ability to have the PV, the battery, the EV charger, all sitting behind the same circuit breaker and avoiding those main panel upgrades is very useful. We're in the process also of launching a series of home energy management devices. We have an electric hot water heater controller that'll make sure that if you're heating your hot water, you're doing it with clean PV energy. And we'll also be launching a series of load management switches. So these will be devices that will allow the home hub inverter to essentially turn off loads if it's necessary. That might just be because, hey, you've got a really egregious time of use rate, or you've got peak demand charges if you're in some place like Arizona, and you want to make sure that you turn off devices like, let's say you have a hot tub or something. You might want to make sure that you turn that off for economic reasons. But also, we allow these systems to go into backup. So if the grid goes down, we will disconnect from the grid, and these devices will be able to turn off those loads that may be kind of optional. But you don't, if you've lost power, you may not want to turn that off. You may want to turn off your air conditioner, and if the home that says, hey, actually it's really hot, I want to turn my air conditioner back on, then we also provide a smartphone app called My SolarEdge, and with that smartphone app, they can then say, no, I'm going to prioritize my comfort right now, and do that. So we have these here. We are adding to our portfolio in order to make both the on-grid experience more economic and make the off-grid experience more convenient, and really allow people to live their lives in the way that they're used to.
I love this is designed for families right here, right? That load management system, SolarEdge. Brian Arons and Magnus Asbo with us today on the Beyond Emissions podcast by Soligent at the Soligent YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, hit the reminder bell. And if you'd like to be a dealer and join our installer network here at Soligent to offer these amazing SolarEdge solutions, click on that link below in the description and join our team, helping us change the world and creating this world that is beyond emissions. Renewable energy, I like what you said, PV to EV. That is really cool, Magnus. And SolarEdge and their solutions available through Soligent offer that capability. Now, the loads, like you were talking about, load management, I'm thinking of families. I'm thinking of, multi-room, homes with different people living differently throughout the house. And that grid goes down. You need to be able to manage that. And not a lot of ability to do that out there with other options. I really think that's amazing how SolarEdge puts the power in the hands of the homeowner to make those decisions manually, and I assume that they can also set it up so that if an outage occurs, they can do that by priority. Is that the case?
Yeah, that's right. And we take a fairly typical approach, which is you can set up loads to be always available. Sometimes available where it might be turned off if the battery is almost depleted. And then, never available. So, a prime example of that is like if you're in backup, you don't want to run your pool pump, right? So you would just turn that off always. And the homeowner can prioritize those so that they get exactly the behavior that they are looking for. But as I said, importantly, if they then change their mind about something, they do have the power in the palm of their hand to make that change.
That's it. You have the power to the people. Beyond emissions, we're creating a world that is beyond emissions. That's our goal. That's our dream, creating this emissions-free future. And we are changing the world, helping our climate, our environment for our children and grandchildren. And that's a big changer right there. But in addition, how about economic freedom? How about energy independence? Beyond Emissions is empowering so much more than just the environment, right, guys? Well, in addition to what you're offering through Soligent by SolarEdge.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that we really see, especially now that here in California, we're starting to see NEM 3.0 come up. We are finding that that utilities are trying to come up with different business models for themselves, and unfortunately, homeowners don't have a whole lot of control over that. But what we are doing is making it possible for people to combine solar with batteries, with load management, so that they can use it in such a way that they truly are independent. If the grid is there, they can use it if they'd like. If the grid is not there, then they can live entirely without it. They can literally start thinking about the grid as a backup resource, if and only if they have a week of rainy days or something like that. So really, in many ways, people have the ability to flip the whole model on its head, and instead of seeing the grid as their primary source of energy, see the grid as a source of energy as a last resort. It's purely up to them how they want to approach that, and we want to make it possible for the homeowner to make that decision about what their relationship with the utility should be.
Magnus Asbo, Brian Arons joining us today from SolarEdge, partners in creating a world that is beyond emissions. Welcome to the Beyond Emissions podcast. At the Soligent YouTube channel, folks, like this video, subscribe, hit the reminder bell, and don't forget, join the team if you're not already partnered with Soligent as an installer dealer. With Soligent and creating this world that is beyond emissions and offering these awesome SolarEdge solutions. Join us and click that link down in the description. We look forward to partnering with you. By the way, you guys have excellent support as well and training. So for installers and potential Soligent SolarEdge dealers that want to join our team and come on board and start offering these amazing all under one umbrella solutions, energy storage, great inverter for your PV optimizers to maximize the solar output and production. In addition to EV charging solutions, all SolarEdge solutions available from Soligent. You offer great training as well. So these installers and dealers joining our team to offer these SolarEdge solutions to their customers, they can be prepared in knowing exactly what they need to say and how to explain it. Talk a little bit about where our installer and dealer network can go to learn more about SolarEdge solutions. You have some great learning and training available, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And Brian, I have to give this to you. This would be a good time to talk about some of the training opportunities that we have.
Sure. So we're on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel with many training videos. We have more in-depth training, though, on our own website. If you were to click the login button up the top of SolarEdge.com, you'll see Edge Academy. And Edge Academy is where you'll find training videos, also sales videos. You can become certified with our products, in particular our storage products. See installation videos. So it's a training for distributors, for installers, and lots of videos for even a homeowner as well, just on YouTube. We also do quarterly live video trainings and calls that you could join, called the Sales Elite Network.
Excellent.
Indeed. Yeah. And those, by the way, those videos are really nice. They come in roughly 5-minute chunks. So if there's some section of the process that you want to narrow in on, it's very easy to do, and you can sort of just look it up. And we're going to move to the point where you can just download these. This is automatically going to be served up on your phone through our installation application. But right now, just looking it up on YouTube is extremely easy. And as I said, they are designed to be in little few-minute chunks.
How about success stories? SolarEdge success stories. I know we have, millions of customers out there that have chosen SolarEdge. I know that because just in my infancy of going out there and selling energy storage from back in the day, came across a ton of installers that already had SolarEdge optimizers up on the roof. So customers have known the advantage of SolarEdge for their renewable energy products for quite a long time. Talk a little bit about some of the success stories out there.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing to mention is just big numbers, right? So we've got over 70 million optimizers delivered on a global basis, over 3 million inverters. And when it comes to storage systems, although the number is smaller, it's still a pretty big number. We have over 100,000 storage systems installed globally. We started off in PV plus storage back in 2016 is when we started shipping our storage product. We worked very closely with Tesla at that time, and then we added on LG and LG Energy Solutions after that. So we've been installing their batteries on a global basis. Other parts of the world, we work with companies like BYD to support that. We kind of work with BYD here in North America. But they are, we have taken the opportunity to just work with many battery manufacturers before we took on making our own battery. And we took a very specific path to do that. We purchased a company called Kokam, and Kokam is the fifth largest lithium-ion battery manufacturer in the world. They did things like they did the first PV-powered airplane to go around the world on with a combination of different technologies. The Kokam batteries are in there. These are the batteries that went down to the bottom of the sea with James Cameron to look at the Titanic. So a lot of great high-tech experience there. And at this point, we have installed many thousands of batteries that we have manufactured ourselves. These are going into everything from small houses to very large houses. I was looking at one system which had a 600 amp disconnect. It was basically 3 different transfer switches, powering this whole house. And in a case like that, we could do as many as 9 different inverters and many more batteries. So the scalability that we are seeing with our customers is unprecedented. Some people have a 100 amp service and they want to have a 3.8 kilowatt inverter and a single battery. Other people might have, as I said, a 400 amp service. They might have 3 inverters and 9 batteries. Whatever they need, we're able to do that, and we are seeing that whole gamut of people. We did see a couple of weeks ago, we had a hurricane run into the southeastern seaboard, and we tracked that, and the ability to warn people beforehand that it was coming, charge the batteries up, and take those systems off grid and allow the people who were impacted by those storms to just ride it out with the lights on was a great achievement. So it was really good to see that, and we're seeing stories like that across the country and around the world, especially here in California, where we see things like public safety power shutdown events. We'll know about those beforehand. We'll bring the battery up to full charge and make sure that when power is lost, that the homeowner can keep on running their lives in the way that they want to.
Wow. Amazing technology. SolarEdge energy storage products are available here in stock at Soligent. Click on the link below in the description right now and contact us. We'll get you connected with the SolarEdge energy storage solution that's right for you. It's awesome. Oh, wow. Beyond Emissions podcast by Soligent here at the Soligent YouTube channel. Brian Arons and also as well Magnus Asbo. Experts from SolarEdge on the program offering these SolarEdge solutions. We have them available, so reach out to us today. Fantastic. Hey, before I let you go, guys, your batteries have been certified safe by so many different entities, and I want our listeners to know that they can count on SolarEdge products being safe. It's amazing in this business how many players out there aren't necessarily getting these certifications, but SolarEdge stands apart, right? Talk about that.
Sure, absolutely. And safety is really one of our key values here and has been from, being pioneers in arc fault detection and as we talked about PD rapid shutdown on the rooftop. In the case of batteries, we are supremely focused on ensuring that it is safe. I don't mean to imply that having batteries is safe. There aren't that many cases where it crops up residentially, but there have been some high-profile incidents, and people should rightly be aware. The name of the game right now is making sure that if you have a battery and if something happens to heat that battery and start a cell combusting, to make sure that it does not spread. And there is a very specific standard around that, which is UL 9540A, A is in alpha, which is a test standard. And then you take the results of that test, and that will tell you based on how the overall battery performs, how close those batteries can reasonably be mounted from each other. And the kind of hallmark is if you can utterly not succeed in starting a battery assembly to self-combust, that no flame can exit it. That is the top tier. That's what we shot for, and that's what we achieved. So, according to the interpretation of the UL 9548 test results that we have, we are allowed to install our batteries outdoors. They are also installable in garages. Distancing is within 6 inches. So as long as you're 6 inches or more apart, that is allowed, and those are the results that AHJs are going to be looking for in order to ensure that the battery is safe and correctly installed based on its characteristics.
Oh, and the flexibility of how they could be mounted. Obviously, no prohibition of having to keep them 6 feet apart. That's awesome for homeowners. I mean, who wants to have their batteries 6 feet apart? But I also saw, by the way, SolarEdge, Magnus Asbo, and Brian Arons with us today here on Soligent's Beyond Emissions podcast, episode number 3. Here on Christmas Eve. Thanks for joining us. Like this video and subscribe. And join us in a SolarEdge revolution of offering these amazing solutions to your customers. Click on the link below. Mounting flexibility. That's huge with the SolarEdge energy storage option available here at Soligent. I noticed on one of the brochures, and I think, Brian, you mentioned it to me as well in a meeting we had previously, that you can actually stack them on the ground as well in a certain configuration. Lots of flexibility in mounting. That's awesome. Talk about that.
Yeah, the battery comes with everything you need for a wall mount installation, but we also offer a floor mount accessory. You can mount up to 3 batteries front to back, all in kind of the same floor mount unit. So they're extremely close together. It saves you a lot of space. Because of that UL 9540 rating we have, you can save a lot of space in your installs using our kit or the wall mount kit that is already provided.
Wow, that's awesome. Great job, guys. I appreciate you coming on and sharing our mission of creating a world that is beyond emissions. You talked about the why at the beginning, Magnus, and I think we just got done having a great discussion about SolarEdge solutions available to our customers on the how. How are we going to create this world that is beyond emissions? And that's empowering our customers. And that's what you're doing with us here at Soligent, you and your team at SolarEdge. We appreciate you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Do me a favor, let our listeners know if they'd like to get in touch with you and ask you some questions or reach out to the SolarEdge team for any technical support. How can they do that? And give them that information. I appreciate you coming on Beyond Emissions, guys.
Sure. You can shoot me an email at Brian, BRIAN, _A, at SolarEdge.com. I'm happy to help.
Fantastic. All right, Brian Arons, Magnus Asbo, thanks so much for joining us today and helping us create a world that is beyond emissions with your SolarEdge solutions available at Soligent. Hang on the line for our engineers. I'll be right back. Beyond Emissions Podcast, brought to you by Soligent, the largest pure-play solar distributor in the Americas. Just around the corner, Brooke Hanner from Offline Solar Electric joins Beyond Emissions to go a little bit further down the path, discussing a special system he created utilizing SolarEdge EV charging station solutions. And he uses that to charge his Tesla off-grid. We're going to find out how. Coming up next on Beyond Emissions podcast by Soligent, the largest pure-play solar distributor in the Americas.
We at Soligent are incredibly excited to announce our partnership with GivePower. Well, we wouldn't be here today talking to you about GivePower if it wasn't for our partners, LoanPal. They've been with GivePower since the beginning. Their contribution has given water and light to countless people across the globe. We are truly inspired by LoanPal's dedication to the cause. Something LoanPal said really strikes a chord regarding GivePower, that this is something that's more than money. It's what makes making money more worthwhile. In a lot of ways, that's synonymous with what we're doing here at Soligent.
Here's how you can help.
What we've decided to do is compound LoanPal's contribution by donating to GivePower on every order paid via our direct pay program through LoanPal. That's right. Every time your company uses your LoanPal portal to pay Soligent for material, 5 people get clean drinking water for a full year.
Together we're stronger.
Together, we can choose to be extraordinary by giving to people who live outside our reach. To us, this means a lot more.
Soligent's purpose meets GivePower's mission. Join the impact. Soligent, Solar Engine. SolarEngineSolutions.com. Go there to find out more. Beyond Emissions podcast, brought to you by Soligent, the largest pure-play solar distributor in the Americas. I really appreciated having you on the program today, joining us every single episode here at the Soligent YouTube channel. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, hit that reminder bell in the corner so you can be a part of this ongoing conversation about helping us to create a world that is beyond emissions. And Brian Arons and Magnus Asbo from SolarEdge. By the way, SolarEdge solutions available here at Soligent to help create this world that is beyond emissions, whether it's their inverter systems, their optimizers, also as well, EV charging systems and energy storage systems, all available here at Soligent. Become a Soligent dealer today and installer with us today in our partnership network by clicking the link below right there and join us and join the Soligent team in creating this world that is beyond emissions. Okay, my next guest, his name is Brooke Hanner. He's the owner of a company called Offline Solar Electric in Mariposa, gateway to the Yosemite National Park. If you ever go up and check out Yosemite, you're going to drive right through or right by Mariposa. It is a beautiful place to live. And Brooke Hanner, by the way, Brooke is my personal friend and mentor. The guy taught me what a kilowatt hour is. And so it's so cool that I get to bring him here on the program to share his knowledge with you. We're going to talk with him today about beyond emissions. What does that mean to him? How are we going to get there? And he's doing it in real life. He lives off grid and he helps thousands of customers through Offline Solar Electric to get off grid as well, utilizing solar, energy storage, wind, you name it. The guy's phenomenal. So without further ado, by the way, don't forget, like this video and subscribe and click the reminder bell so you can be a part of this ongoing conversation here at the Soligent YouTube channel, the Beyond Emissions podcast. Welcome to the show, Brooke Hanner. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing great. How about yourself, Josh?
Oh,
I'm excited to be part of your new show.
I'm loving it. I'm serious as a heart attack. This guy taught me what a kilowatt hour is when I was just a young pup, man. I'm so glad that you're with me here on this episode. Thank you very much, Brooke. Thank you.
He's taught me a lot since then as well. It's a mutual thing between us both. We educate each other here.
Never stop learning, right, Brooke? Never stop learning.
That's it.
Well, Brooke Hanner from Offline Solar Electric with us here on the Beyond Emissions podcast. You live off grid, and I remember you bought a Tesla, and you were excited about it. I'm excited about it. I think it's like a little spaceship. It's amazing. And
it's a wonderful car.
Right. And you're not spewing nasty carbon into the atmosphere driving it around. Then you were coming up with a unique solution on how to charge it. Talk about that.
Well, it has to do with SolarEdge, who were your previous guest, but we were able to. Well, let me back up. SolarEdge makes an inverter that has the option for a solar or a car charger, built-in car charger. So I do live off grid, and this particular inverter is a standard string inverter that we would use on a regular rooftop system. The only difference is it's got optimizers and that allows it to work better in shading conditions. But having said that, it also has that car charger portion of it. So I live off grid, so the question is how do I get that to work on an off-grid system? It was really easy. I just AC coupled it in. When I'm ready to charge, I fire up the SolarEdge inverter. It fires up, looks at my grid to make sure that it meets specifications and powers up, and then I take the power directly from the sun into the solar panels and right into my car. I always say it's 8 minutes from the sun to my car.
That is beautiful. That is, you're a living example of creating a world that is beyond emissions. That's the how. And the innovation that exists today, the technologies that exist today are like SolarEdge and what you've done with it and other technologies as well. It's amazing the type of ingenuity, that we can really pull out of a hat. It's like magic, but it's not magic. It's really science and learning and math, and you just didn't have this solution fall out of the sky. It's been a lot of learning, to go back to our original point along the way. How did you discover that you could do this?
AC coupling's been around for quite a while. The only problem with AC coupling is trying to control it, especially if you're tying it into a battery system. And the reason that is always a question is because a grid tie inverter or a string inverter, as we generally refer to them, is either off or on. And what I mean by that is it's either making as much power as it can, or it's not making any power. There's no middle ground. So if I've got it tied to a battery system, I've got, I'm also charging batteries at the same time. Well, if my batteries get full and the SolarEdge is still running at 100%, then there's a possibility I could overcharge the batteries at that point. I have had to build in some secure or some safety into the circuitry so that when I get to that point, it automatically reads it and shuts off. But there's other battery inverters out there. I believe SolarEdge is one of them that has controls for an AC coupled system that work a lot better than trying to do it with voltage the way I've got it set up. What they do is they do what I call tickle the sine wave. So when that AC coupled system is hooked in there, the battery inverter, the SolarEdge inverter in this case, knows that it's there and knows what it's looking at. And when it sees that it's, the way I understand how it works, when it sees that the batteries are full, what it does is it changes the cycles on the power that's going, or on the power that the SolarEdge is reading, so that they're out of spec, and then the SolarEdge says, oh, I got to stop producing power, and shuts off. And then the way a normal string inverter works is every 5 minutes it goes back to its grid, or its, in this case, the SolarEdge inverter, to see if the grid is still out of spec. And if it is, it doesn't pick it up. And if it's not, then it'll again accept the power and start charging and putting power into the system. But that's how the SolarEdge and there are other inverters battery inverters out there, are set up to control a string inverter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It can AC couple to an inverter like the SolarEdge, for example, or Enphase microinverters or what have you, or whatever it might be. That allows for a lot of flexibility for the end user customer, especially if especially if they love the SolarEdge and the optimizers for all of the benefits that are available there. Yeah, you can really create a hybrid scenario. What you've done using the SolarEdge EV charging system to go direct to your car, I'm curious, for our listeners who might be interested in creating an EV charging station for their customers, whether it be on-grid or off-grid, how did you go about figuring out the size of the solar panels needed to pair with that SolarEdge EV charging solution to charge up your Tesla, for example? How many kilowatt hours is that Tesla battery?
Well, in this case, I could build a system that would charge my car in an hour. But the system would be so big. If you go to a supercharging station, they're dumping as many as 250 kilowatts of power into your car at any given moment. So you can see, in order to set up a fast or rapid charging system, I would have to have a huge solar array. I mean, in the zone of 100 kilowatts, I would think. But we didn't approach it that way. We just looked at it as maybe, I think I set it up as 10 kilowatts on the SolarEdge itself. Or I can't remember off the top of my head. But in any case, it's a slower charging system. It's not one it's not a rapid charger, but it can put up to, my best, I can put up to 150 miles a day into the car. And I can put, 20 miles into it, 25 miles into it in an hour, per hour would be about my max. So in 2 hours I can get 50 miles in it. And in 2 hours, that's enough power to take me from Mariposa, because it's all downhill, from Mariposa to Merced. Where if I needed more power, I could pull up to a supercharging station at that point and get charged up with their high-speed chargers and be at 100% at that point within a half hour to an hour. But so my system is slower, but it's always there. It's not dependent on the grid at all. The only thing it's dependent on is the sun coming out.
Yep. Home charging systems. We're so used to, in our lives, ingrained in our everyday lives, of having to go to, as they say in Great Britain, the petrol station and gas up. I didn't even do that right. I might, but seriously, it's in our culture to go to the gas station, and changing that philosophy or that mindset to one that says, you know what, I'm my own gas station, right?
Right. Well, I look at it from just that point of view. It makes me feel pretty dang comfortable that I do have a means of charging my car. I mean, I can actually put energy into my car and not, and drive it down the road, and I'm not dependent on anybody else at all. In fact, I always see that as if the grid went down for whatever reason, then my charging system should be pretty popular. A lot of people, if they hear about it, are probably going to ask me about it, right? So, in that situation, they wouldn't be able to charge their cars either. If they could bring it up to my place and charge it, leave it there for a day or a half a day or an hour, and be able to put a charge on it, I believe I'll be a pretty popular spot at that point. Right.
And you think about, this, it's been in the news, the mandate in California that at a certain point in time, 2035 or something like that, no more internal combustion engines sold in new vehicles. And so we're making that transition. Our grid infrastructure, not really ready for it yet, for everyone just to be plugged into the grid. But your solution that you've done in your own home using the SolarEdge EV charging solution that's available here at Soligent, by the way, guys, check it out. in the link below, and be like Brooke. You're a solar partner with Soligent, an installer working with Soligent now. Yeah, folks, you can do the same thing. Go to that link in the description, become a Soligent installer, a dealer with us, and have access to the SolarEdge EV charging systems that Brooke is talking about, what he used at his own place. But in all reality,
one thing we should mention, Josh, because we may have confused some people, is that this very same system can be installed on their house too, and just tied directly into the grid, so that they could have solar on their house with this string inverter that SolarEdge offers, and they can, they don't have to have an off-grid system. It was originally designed to be used on a grid or for a grid tie system with a battery with a car charging option. So though I've taken it and put it and set it up on an off-grid system, it can certainly be installed on any grid tie system as well.
Yes. And that's the point is, we don't have to buy into the naysayers that say the grid's not ready for everyone to charge their vehicles. Well, it may not be ready, but the solution to make you and your individual home ready to charge your own electrical vehicle and have that empowerment in your hands, it exists right now. And you can have solar on your roof charging the battery in your car through these solutions today. And that's not going to tax the grid at all, right? If anything, it's going to help, right, Brooke?
It will only help the grid. And this particular inverter will charge any of the cars out there. So if you have a Hyundai, that electric car, you can plug it in. You might have to buy an adapter. That's a possibility. But the source of power that the car is being charged with is the same source of power that a Tesla would use, a Hyundai would use, a Kia would use, a GM would use, Ford would use. You can use the same SolarEdge inverter with the built-in car charger on any electric car out there. But I haven't seen any that it wouldn't work with. Let me say it like that.
Yeah, compatible with so many options available. And folks, you can get this from Soligent, SolarEdge EV charging systems. Their inverters. We offer so much more, but today we're spotlighting SolarEdge because of your cool story, Brooke. I'm thinking to myself, like, wow, installers are listening to this and going, he did what? Especially since, Tesla, it's a name out there. Everybody knows about it. But, it's not always the right solution for everyone. And you don't have a Tesla EV charging system. You've made your own and created your own with something else to charge your Tesla car, which, by the way, that is the coolest car. It makes me think, like, there goes Batman, like every time I see you driving that thing, man, it's Batman. You love your car. It's amazing. But you're not boxed into the solution that it takes to get that thing charged up. There are options available for our listeners who are tuning in here to the Beyond Emissions podcast at the Soligent YouTube channel. Options, right? Choices. We're not boxed in. Renewable energy is all about freedom and choice, right?
Right. Exactly. It gives you more choice. It doesn't limit you. It only expands you. And that's in this particular setup. You can see how it expands the different ways that I can charge my car. It allows me to charge it directly off the sun. I can charge, or I can charge it, at a supercharging station down in Merced. But in any case, I like the idea of being able to charge it directly off the sun. When I'm moving down the road and I know that I just took it off my solar car charger, that's a pretty cool feeling to be moving down the road on pure sun power.
Wow. I love it. And, the knowledge to do all of this requires consistent effort in learning, and always be learning. Never stop learning. We opened up the broadcast here for, the Beyond Emissions podcast today at the Soligent YouTube channel. Brooke Hanner from Offline Solar Electric, my mentor and friend on the program today. Brooke, let's talk a little bit about that. There are a lot of solar salespeople out there that mean well. It's just their job. You want to buy solar? Want to buy solar? This will power your whole house. Want to buy solar? The reality is invest in your knowledge, invest in your education, and never stop learning. Talk a little bit about that to our potential solar installers and dealers that want to click on that link in our description to join the Soligent team here in creating this world that is beyond emissions. They mean well, but it's important to have the knowledge and invest in your own knowledge. Talk a little bit about that, if you will.
Well, I'm always one, myself, to always want to continue to look at the different things that are coming up and how they can be used in reality. And we can talk about the EV charger, the SolarEdge EV charger as an example. We originally found out and was looking at that EV charger because one of our clients had brought it up to us, and we were doing SolarEdge at the time. We hadn't necessarily done a charger with it. So having done that one and learned about it, then it was the next step for me was, because I live off grid and I knew about doing AC coupled systems. It was a pretty easy leap for me to go from a string inverter with an EV charger to AC coupling it into my own system. And that's just an example how continuing to educate yourself on the different pieces of equipment, solar equipment, that become available and how they can be integrated with each other. We don't really, it isn't until you start working on it and start thinking about it and see them side by side that you start to get that kind of information. But it also requires that you have a pretty decent working knowledge of that piece of equipment you're looking at. So I would always encourage people to continue to educate themselves in regards to these systems, because they're changing so fast, and we're able to do so much more. I mean, 10, 15 years ago, I never heard of anything of an AC coupled system that was controlled by, shifting the cycles a little bit, so that the AC inverter says, oh, it's out of spec, and shuts down. Prior to that, everybody was doing things that, with voltages. So as the voltage got so high, it tripped a relay and shut it down that way. But the voltages aren't as reliable as changing the frequencies, and it's just a better way of handling it. And but that requires, again, in order for them to come up with that, and an installer to know that that's an option, it requires continuing education. So you have to always go and learn more and more all the time. I mean, the SolarEdge battery systems is another thing that that requires a lot of you got to study them before you can actually start putting them in, because there's new things there that you have to understand. And when you understand the new criteria that you're working with, then you can then your brain can start to come up with new ideas how to use it.
Right.
So it's education, and it's also, always looking for better ways to do things. Innovation.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. That and folks, I've been a broadcaster since 1996 on different radio stations, and that's what I did for a living, and sold advertising and did marketing and stuff like that. And did not know anything. I knew nothing about batteries, and lo and behold, I get on board at an awesome battery company. I learned a lot about batteries along the way, but really didn't know anything about solar. And I'm delivering batteries one day to Brooke Hanner, my customer at Offline Solar Electric, and I said, Brooke, what is a kilowatt hour? You know, we've had so many other discussions. I mentioned our discussion about how energy is always seeking equilibrium, which you and I have discussed ad nauseum as well before. You know, so many different things you open my eyes to. You know, Ohm's law, watts divided by volts equals amps, amps times volts equals watts. These are critical little pieces of knowledge, little nuggets of knowledge that we need to know so that we can really help our customers in creating this world that is beyond emissions, right? I'm so thankful that you have been a mentor of mine. Thank you, Brooke.
Oh, my pleasure, Josh. Anytime. It's been I enjoy teaching people and opening people's eyes and showing them new things. So it's truly, truly, truly my pleasure.
Energy is always seeking equilibrium. And to get back to the Beyond Emissions mission that we have, you share the same mission, our environment, climate change, mitigating the problems that have been caused by our environment being out of balance for so long. You know, you mentioned, you know, yes, electricity, and talking about electrical theory, that electricity is always seeking equilibrium. And I always remember you saying, but in all reality, everything in the universe is always seeking out equilibrium. And when it's out of balance, it's always looking. So right now, we're at a crossroads where our climate is being affected. Our environment has been affected. We have been out of balance for so long with all of the emissions-driven fossil fuel economy. And we're at a crossroads where we can really make a big difference now, right? Talk a little bit about that.
We're at a space now. Well, we all know the downside if we don't do anything, which can be scary. But, you know, I don't want to focus on that so much as the solutions. And that's the only thing I can focus on, because that's the only thing I can do, right? So when I look at solutions, that's part of the reason I do solar is because I came to the conclusion that, you know, I could do my own solar, but I wanted to help other people do their solar as well. And I came to this general conclusion is that it doesn't matter where that solar is installed. It could be installed in a house in New York, and I live in California. I benefit from that house in New York that has solar. If my neighbor puts on solar, I benefit. If Josh Brumm puts solar on his house, you know, it could be 100 miles away from where I live, 1,000 miles away from where I live. It benefits me. You know, it benefits me in multiple ways. I might be able to actually use some of the electricity he's using or creating. And for sure, it benefits me in the reduction of carbon that gets into the atmosphere. And that benefits everybody. If I do it, it benefits everybody in the world. If Josh does it, it does the same thing. You know, SolarGen producing or selling and distributing solar equipment, the way they do is helping to create the solution, and I benefit from their efforts. Josh benefits from their efforts. All of the United States benefits from their efforts because they're reducing the carbon. And you know, that's all we can do. For me, myself, I can do my own solar system and try to help other people do their own solar system. And, I actually can make a living doing that and helping people and helping the earth. And that's what I want to do. And that's what I would think all installers are doing, if they realize it or not, but that's what they're doing, is they're helping everybody. And this is just going to be, this is a field that is going to do nothing but get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I just can't see it going backwards at this point. It's the only source of electricity that the common person can control for themselves to make sure that they have power at their individual homes for their own uses, cars, cooking, whatever. But we can do all that stuff ourselves in our own living space these days. And, it's all possible, and it's happening. It's happening so fast, it's hard to keep up with it. Every day something new is happening, and it's just getting better and better and better, and it'll be better it benefits everybody throughout the world. Every day, as solar gets stronger, it benefits everybody.
It is. It's benefiting you right now, listening to this podcast. You're being a part of the solution of helping us create a world that is beyond emissions. Thank you for tuning in to the Beyond Emissions podcast, brought to you by Soligent, the largest pure-play solar distributor in the Americas. Click on the link below in the description and join us on our team and become a Soligent dealer with our distribution network. We have warehouses everywhere. We can drop ship products, what you need, to your job site. We have financing in-house with direct pay options, part of Give Power, which gives clean drinking water, money for clean drinking water to less fortunate folks around the world. And when you participate with us in that, you're helping in that as well. Just amazing. It's so much more than just making money. We're making a difference. We're changing the world, and we're doing it together. One home, one business, one renewable energy system at a time. I'm excited to see the future and what we're going to do here, Brooke. Brooke Hanner, Offline Solar Electric, partners with Soligent as well. And thank you so much for joining the Soligent team, Brooke. For our listeners who might want to call and chat with you about some of the stuff we talked about today and projects you're working on at offlinesolar.com, talk to our listeners real quick. Let them know how they could reach you. And also as well, you're very open to just having conversations if people want to call up and get advice too, right?
Absolutely. Again, that's, my philosophy is, even if I don't, sell somebody a solar system, if they have questions and they want to ask me, I am more than willing to help them with answers, any answer I can come up with that would be useful to them. Again, I do that because my basic philosophy is no matter what happens, no matter where the solar goes, it's beneficial to me, and it's beneficial to everybody around me. So, yes, I am open to answer any questions, and they can call me at area code 209-742-6333, or they can go to our website, offlinesolar.com, and there's an option there to drop us an email if you'd like, or you can call me or email me directly at offlinesolar.com. It's Brooke Hanner at offlinesolar.com, or you can go to info@offlinesolar.com. There's multiple ways to get to us.
Now, folks, I before we get you off the broadcast today, Brooke, I can't do a close of the show without letting you explain to people real quick. Offline Solar in Mariposa, Brooke's not the original owner, although you've done amazing things. Don Loper, the original owner. We're talking in the history of solar business in the United States of America, rooftop solar. Offline Solar is a legend. Like, Offline Solar is one of the first adopters to offer. Talk a little bit about that, about how Offline Solar has a legacy, in the solar business that really stands out far and above, what people might realize. Let them know a little bit real quick about the history of Offline Solar in the solar industry, period. It's amazing. One of the first adopters.
Well, Offline Solar started business originally in 1982. So as of this year, it's 40 years old. I acquired the company myself 10 years ago from the original owner, Don Loper, who was a pioneer in the solar industry and is often associated to how do I say this, to pay or to open up the way to put more and more rooftop solar on houses, and it's kind of a little bit of a long story. But Don Loberg, at one point, was the president of the trade association, solar trade association called CalCEA. And like I said, he was the president, and Southern California Edison had petitioned the PUC to become the sole installers of solar in their jurisdiction. And they were pushing to make that happen, I would think, so they could control how much solar was actually being installed in their jurisdiction. But in any case, it went to the PUC, and there was a hearing, and Don Loberg, like I said, was the president of the company at that time, and they organized a defense to keep Southern California, or to oppose Southern California Edison from gaining that sort of solar privilege, and they were successful in that the PUC came down with a ruling that said that they could install or they could own as much solar as they wanted, but they couldn't install it. It had to be done by outside contractors and could not be done by the actual utility themselves. And that ruling pretty much opened up solar in California. From that point on, it was only contractors, solar contractors and electrical contractors that could actually install solar. And it's still that way today. And that could be owed to, or you can at least put some of the credit to making that happen to the original owner of this company, Don Loberg, when he was president of CalCEA.
Wow. The landscape, you who are listening, solar installers in California, electricians and contractors in California, you make your living helping people with solar and renewable energy systems with their rooftop solar systems. And we owe a big thanks and a big amount of gratitude to the original owner of Brooks Company, Offline Solar Electric. Don was a pioneer. Amazing that story. I can't help but close the program on a high note, knowing that getting your brand out there, offlinesolar.com, go there today, offlinesolar.com, and check it out. Your story is something that it's almost like, the players in the NBA today, they should all go thank Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson and Larry Bird for the NBA they have today, right? And at the same token, if you're installing solar in the United States of America, let alone California, look back at the history of rooftop solar and the obstacles that were overcome by fighters like Don Loberg, the president and owner of Brooks Company, now owned by Brooke Hanner, offlinesolar.com. Go to offlinesolar.com today, find out more, reach out to Brooke. He is always down to do any teaching, discussions, or conversations that you might want to have pertaining to what you have going on in your world, even if it's just a conversation. It's great. Brooke, thank you very much for coming on Beyond Emissions. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Hey, I'm excited to do this. I'll do it anytime you want, Josh.
Excellent. Well, Brooke, hang on the line for our engineers. Beyond Emissions podcast here at the Soligent YouTube channel. Like this video, subscribe, and make sure you go down to the link in the description to join us. Become a dealer here with us, an installer partner here with us at Soligent. Be like Brooke Hanner at Offline Solar Electric and offer these awesome solutions, especially the really cool EV charging system we talked about today, amongst other things, energy storage optimizers from SolarEdge. Brian and Magnus from SolarEdge, great job in supporting us and our team and our customers here and offering these amazing SolarEdge solutions from Soligent. If you'd like to be a dealer, join us today or go to soligent.net, click on Become a Dealer, and we'll get in touch with you for a customized solution to help you empower your customers in joining us in a mission of creating a world that is beyond emissions. Until next time, I'm Josh Brumm, your host. Thanks for joining us here at the Beyond Emissions podcast at the Soligent YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.